Today on The Big Story, the new year was somber for friends and family members of the victims of the tragic Lucky Plaza accident. The death toll from flash floods in Indonesia's capital reached at least 21 as of this morning, with more heavy rain forecast. What's the situation now? The ban on e-scooters on footpaths took effect yesterday, with the zero-tolerance stance kicking in. The Straits Times hit the streets to see if any riders flouted the rules. It's a brand new year. Welcome back. Now, we hope you've settled into 2020. I'm Haryanto Diman, coming to you live from the Straits Times newsroom. You're watching The Big Story, where I'll have my newsroom colleagues to join me to discuss the hottest topics of the day and explain why it matters. The new year was filled with sadness as friends and members of the Filipino community paid their respects at the wakes of the victims of the Lucky Plaza accident. The wake for Arlene Picanucos was at Sin Ming Drive, while the wake for Abigail Danau Leste was at Geylang Bahru. The two victims, together with 4 other Filipino mates, were having a picnic outside Lucky Plaza on Sunday when they were hit by a car. All 6 of them were a tight-knit group, and for several years, they met at Lucky Plaza on their usual rest day. What had begun as a joyous occasion over drinks and food that they had brought along to celebrate the upcoming New Year ended with 2 killed and 4 injured. Miss Abigail Danau Leste, 41, and Miss Arlene Picanucos, 50, died from their injuries after being taken to Tan Tock Seng Hospital. We have journalist Timothy Goh, who visited the wakes of the 2 victims yesterday and spoke to some friends of the victims. Welcome, Tim. Now, Tim, obviously there would be a somber mood, and there was quite a sizable turnout as well at the wakes.
Yes, that's correct. There were about 60 people at each wake, despite it being called at the very last minute. So quite a few people turned out, especially there were some people who didn't even know the deceased personally, but wanted to turn up to show their support and to give some financial support to the families as well.
Right. So it was open to the public. Public could visit as well.
For specific periods of time, yes.
Right. And you also spoke to some of their friends, and the friends shared with you fondest memories of the victims. What were some of the things that the friends had said?
Oh, there were so many. A lot of them remembered the victims as very happy, very generous people who will definitely be missed. One of them, Miss Nucos' best friend, she shared with us that Miss Nucos was one of the kind of people who would, even if she had nothing, would still be very generous and give whatever little she had to other people.
Right.
Another helper, who had been in the same household as Ms. Nucos, said that Ms. Nucos basically showed her the ropes of being a helper when she first came to Singapore, and taught her everything she knew about teaching, raising the employer's kids, and so it's just very sad for her because she now has to pick up the pieces and pack up her things and send them back to the Philippines.
Yeah, right. Apart from, of course, friends and family members who have expressed, sadness over the tragic loss of their good friend, netizens also have expressed condolences online. I think when the news broke, clearly people felt the loss of these 2 helpers. What were some of their responses online?
Well, I mean, as you said, there's definitely been a great outpouring of condolences, not just from the Filipino community, which is very tight-knit, but I think some of the Singaporeans as well have all banded together to donate through an online giving portal, giving.sg, and as of yesterday, I think more than $250,000 had been collected for the 6 victims.
Right. Very heartwarming to know that indeed. Now, Tim, separately, of course, the Ministry of Health has also explained why the victims, they were not taken to Mount Elizabeth Hospital, even though it was only 200 meters away from the scene. What did MOH say exactly?
Well, this has definitely been a point of discussion online. A lot of commenters have pointed out that the hospital was right there, but MOH has clarified that while Mount E does have a 24-hour walk-in emergency department, as people have rightly observed, it's not properly equipped to handle such severe trauma cases. In fact, it's not just Mount Elizabeth, but almost every other private hospital, aside from Raffles Hospital, is not equipped to handle this severity of cases. And even in Raffles Hospital's case, it can't handle such a mass amount of casualties.
Right.
On the other hand, public hospitals are equipped to handle this kind of accident, aside from Alexander Hospital. That being said, Ministry of Health has said that it is happy to work with private hospitals if they do wish to upgrade themselves to be able to meet the standard.
Yeah, hopefully something comes out of that as well. Well, thank you so much, team, for coming on to the show, to share with us your experience on the ground at both of the wakes. And you were there yesterday, right?
Yes.
For both at the wakes. Now, our deepest condolences to the friends and family members of Miss Lester and Miss Newcoast. Now, to read more on this, head on to our website, straitstimes.com. Moving on, the death toll from flash floods and landslides in and around Indonesia's capital Jakarta has reached at least 21 as of this morning. More heavy rain is also to be expected. The deadliest floods in years displaced more than 30,000 people, with train lines blocked and power outages in some areas. The authorities did not give a full breakdown of the causes of death for all of the victims, but earlier said 4 people had drowned, 4 died in landslides and 4 more were electrocuted, while 3 died of hypothermia. Indonesian Weather Agency also said that the city had its most intense rainfall for at least 24 years and that the rain on New Year's Eve was not ordinary rain. Now, we spoke to Indonesia correspondent Wahyudi Suryatmaja just earlier for the latest updates on the situation.
Actually, this is the record since we started measuring the rainfall intensity. Actually, before our independence, when we were under Dutch 18 something. Right now, the focus is on the emergency response. We have tens of thousands of evacuees. People fled their home, and now for most parts of Jakarta, it's a cleaning day. We started cleaning because we don't want to have the stain stick on our wall. So once the water recedes, we start cleaning as soon as possible.
And what is the current situation now? If you could tell us, Wahyudi, are people, still, is it still chaotic? Because I understand that road and traffics have been affected as well.
Now most of us are experienced flood victims, including my family, and we return to normal very quickly. And the airport that was forced to shut yesterday, the smaller airport, Halim Airport, has resumed operations today. A toll road that was blocked by flood water now operating. Is back and operating normally. Some of the train service is still having problem.
And Wahyudi, of course, you mentioned earlier on as well that your family is affected and you are affected as well. And we can see from the background in where you are right now. Could you tell us the extent of the damage that you are facing?
We are holding up okay. The water inside our house almost reached waist high, outside about chest high. We are still luckier than most other victims. We do live very close to river here, only 20 meters, but we live in the central. In the central, but in a low-lying area. We understand that we only could choose to have one proximity over safety, small issue of safety. We like to live in the central. We want to avoid Jakarta traffic jam, but the risk is we get once in a while flood like we had yesterday.
Right. Wahyudi, of course, we want you to keep safe and your family safe as well. Now, Wahyudi, more rain is to be expected in the coming days. What are the plans in place by the Indonesian government to handle this situation?
Right now, they want to make sure that all the sluice gates or water dams in the city operating properly. None of the sluice gates are jammed. They want to make sure the flow of water can run normal. And also something that we have been lagging is the dredging, river dredging. They should do more on this. We have quite a lot of sedimentation in the river. That's the problem. Also, residents throwing garbage into the river, like I showed you guys in the video.
Yeah.
And flood debris. They clean up their house. Flood debris they throw into a river. That's like investing in a future problem.
There was Wayudi, our Indonesian correspondent, right in Jakarta, and of course our thoughts and prayers to those who are affected by the flood. To read more on this, you can of course check out on our website straitstimes.com. And now let's move on to what's trending, where Renee will share with us what's buzzing in the internetverse. Over to you, Renee.
Thanks, Haryanto. It's time for What's Trending. Pope Francis has apologized for slapping the hand of a woman on New Year's Eve. The pontiff was greeting Catholics when a woman grabbed his hand and pulled him towards her. He slapped her hand twice and was visibly annoyed as he walked away. While giving his New Year's address in St. Peter's Square, he apologized for setting a bad example and admitted he had lost his patience. Singer Mariah Carey also ended 2019 in a rather unfortunate way. On New Year's Eve, her Twitter account was hacked, posting crude and racist tweets, including questionable comments about rapper Eminem. The tweets were removed after about 20 minutes, and Carey herself brushed it off. The pop diva has already had better news by making history. She became the first artist to top the Billboard charts in 4 separate decades, thanks to her classic holiday hit, All I Want for Christmas Is You. And finally, Thailand began the year with a ban on single-use plastic bags at major stores, the first step towards a complete ban in 2021. The country seems to be on the right track. It has dropped from 6th to 10th among the world's biggest contributors to ocean waste. Kudos to Thailand, though global climate action is still going to be an uphill task. UN climate scientists say over $400 billion is needed to stop the rise in greenhouse gases and buy up to 20 years of time to fix global warming. And that's all we have for What's Trending today. If you've seen a story you want to share, link it in the comment section below. Back to you, Haryanto.
Now, thanks, Renee. I have to agree that the song by Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You, I think that is definitely a hot favorite. Now, moving on to our last segment, the ban on electric scooters on footpaths took effect yesterday with the zero-tolerance stance kicking in. According to the Land Transport Authority, in a Facebook post yesterday evening, 2 errant school e-scooter users were caught flouting the rules. LTA enforcement officers were patrolling in areas such as Ang Mo Kio, Punggol, Sengkang, Sembawang and Yishun. The Straits Times hit the streets yesterday to see if any e-scooter riders had plied the pathways illegally.
I have to adapt to the changes lah. But bopian lah. I have to go until I get my e-bike lah.
Started riding my bicycle just today. I have to lah because I need to work, right? Yes, very tiring. But if you have an achievement of losing weight, it's fine lah.
So I start cycling about 2 months back. I'm a heart attack patient actually. Yeah, but no choice. I'm doing it full time. Never mind lah, take it slowly but surely lah. Grab give me a notification about changing to bicycle. Quite tiring actually, up the slope, everything. Earnings, yeah, drop. But bopian lah. I have to go until I get my e-bike lah.
We have journalist Michelle Ng who was on the ground to tell us more. Welcome, Michelle. Michelle, so what do you observe while you were on the ground yesterday?
Yesterday, we were at Campus 1, which is next to Sengkang MRT, and actually when we got there, we were there for about 3 hours, and we didn't see a single e-scooter anywhere, or we thought like they had disappeared from, from the footpaths in Singapore.
Yeah.
But after we went, we moved to Woodlands, Causeway Point.
Yep.
In 30 minutes, we saw around 7 e-scooters. Riders who were like using footpaths, and some of them were food delivery riders, and some were just teenage riders. Yeah, and I think the difference between both is that perhaps at Woodlands, because we didn't see a single enforcement officer, maybe there was no one there to like actually catch them. Maybe that's why people were more like daring to ride around. And one of the there was a mother who was ferrying her daughter on an e-scooter to like tuition center, and she was really taken aback because she didn't know that she was like breaking the rules. She was like, oh, I'm gonna stop using it now.
Yeah. But of course, just to be sure, e-scooters with the ban, they are not allowed on footpaths,
Yes,
right?
and
but on sorry, yes.
yeah, they're not allowed on footpaths and roads.
Okay.
Yeah.
But cycling paths
Yes.
are still okay.
Yes,
So what we're
cycling.
looking for were actually errant riders who were on footpaths, yeah?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Now, you also, and you mentioned this as well, right, Mitch, that you spoke to some food delivery riders as well. Now, how has the situation actually changed for them, especially with the zero tolerance policy stance?
Actually, so a lot of riders that I spoke to, some of them have, they understood, like basically all of them knew about the ban, and they have all changed vehicles. So some have opted for bicycles and some opted for e-bikes. But I guess the main sentiment among food delivery riders is that it's not really their fault, like because they say like it's mostly the teenage riders who are causing making e-scooters dangerous on a footpath, and this vehicle is their rice bowl and they wouldn't risk it. So, but at the same time, they understood why it was necessary to keep footpaths safe for pedestrians again. So so most of them are they're just like going about their daily lives, just trying to like figure out how to earn the same amount of money, delivering on a bicycle as compared to when they did.
Alternative transport modes, I
Yeah,
suppose.
exactly.
Right? They're trying very hard.
Yeah, they're
indeed.
trying.
Well, thank you so much, Mitch, for coming onto the show to share with us more on this. To watch the full video, of course, and to read the story, you can visit our website at straitstimes.com. Now, there you have it, our top stories for the day. For more news and videos, of course, you can head on to straitstimes.com. Once again, I'm Haryanto Diman. See you tomorrow for more stories on The Big Story.